Okay, thank you very much. So hello, everyone. Let us start to introduce ourselves. I am Inês Almeida from EDP New.
And I am Ana Carvalho, also from EDP New. There's a lot of people here. Thank you for coming. We're very excited to have you all here. So welcome to the 23rd edition of the R&D sessions by EDP New. If you don't know, for those who don't know, EDP New is the Center for Research and Development of EDP. And in here we work in research and development projects on the energy sector at an European level. In 2020, we started organizing these monthly sessions that we call the R&D sessions, where basically we get together experts to discuss everything related to the energy sector, including the future of our sector, what are the challenges that lay ahead of us, and also the solutions that we are already putting into practice. So the R&D sessions are basically where we discuss how to revolutionize the energy sector.
So this is our third webinar this year. And for today's sessions, we have prepared a session on local energy communities, in which we will try to answer the question, how can each of us be part of the energy transition, taking as an example the Neuron project. Let us remind you that the recording of each webinar is available on our website. So if you did not have the chance to watch the previous webinars live, you can go to our website. You just need to read the QR code in the slides to watch them offline, and there we will find different topics of other R&D sessions. So welcome to this event. At the end of the presentations, we will have a Q&A time, so we also want to encourage you to ask questions in the Q&A chat, because we have here the right persons to answer you. We wish you all a great session, and now, Carlos, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ana, indeed. So hello, everyone, and welcome to the 23rd R&D session powered by EDPU. Thank you all for joining this session, and thank you to our today's guest speakers for having accepted our invitations. It is the first session that I have the opportunity to participate, and I hope it will be very useful for you and that you have fun participating in it like we did in organizing. Here we can see our agenda for today. I will first present a brief intro slide, and we'll have 3 presentations by our guest speakers, followed by a roundtable of Q&A. Please feel free to put the questions in the chat anytime, and they will be answered in the Q&A slot. The first presentation will be about the latest developments in the topic of local energy communities by Cristina Papadimitriou and Maria Laura Di Soma. Then Francisco Cunha Gomes will present us a practical implementation of a local energy community in a military campus. And finally, José Oliveira will brief us into the technological developments for the implementation of LECs. So, okay, in my brief intro, I'll just provide you with a few basic notions to provide some context for our guest speaker presentations. The definition of local energy communities has been changing through time. They are sometimes also called the renewable energy communities, citizen energy communities, or even simply energy communities with slight differences in the definition. The European Commission currently defines energy communities as citizen-driven energy actions that contribute to the clean energy transition, advancing energy efficiency within local communities by harnessing local energy and possibly providing flexibility to the energy system. Not being a fairly new concept, there are some challenges that have been limiting their widespread adoption, namely energy sector carrying integration and optimization that are the key to maximizing the usage of local energy resources, flexibility, and ultimately making the LEC business model sustainable. We also need a robust pan-European regulatory framework, which will be the key to align and standardize technologies and business models and make LECs widespread. And finally, some social aspects, including involving the populations in a bottom-up approach to the energy sector and motivating them to be an active part in the energy transition. So a great deal of experts in Europe are currently trying to mitigate these challenges. The Horizon 2020 in Neuron project, which EDP is participating in, will be presented in this session and is a prime example of the work that is being conducted on this subject. We believe that the benefits will be several, including for EDP, like, for example, new business models and value propositions, ancillary services provisions to the grids, flexibility, demand side management, which will ultimately result in grid reinforcement investment deferral because of the lower seen consumption by the grids and lower power flows. And finally, last but not least, helping to meet the carbon emission goals, which are very, very important and demanding. So without further delay, I'm very happy to introduce our first guest speakers, which will perform a joint presentation about the latest development in the topic of local energy communities and the Neuron project. So Dr. Christina Papadimitriou is an assistant professor within Eindhoven University of Technology on intelligent energy systems. She has received her diploma in electrical and computer engineering from the University of Patras, Greece, as well as her PhD degree on control of dispersed generation for their integration into microgrids. She's currently in the technical coordinator of the Neuron project, the co-chair of Working Group 5 of the European Technology and Innovation Platform, Smart Networks for Energy Transition, and is also participating in SIGRE Working Group C6/C2.34. Dr. Maria Laura Di Somma received the PhD degree in Mechanical Systems Engineering from the University of Naples Federico II, Italy, in 2016. Since 2015, she is a research scientist and project manager of the Energy Technologies and Renewable Sources Department of INEA, the National Italian Agency for New Technologies, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development. She is the representative of INEA within the European Energy Research Alliance joint program on smart grids, and within Mission Innovation Challenge 1 on smart grids, and also the coordinator of the Horizon 2020 project in Neuron. Christina and Maria Laura, please, the floor is yours. Please share your screen.
Thank you very much, Carlos, for your introduction. So I hope you can now see my screen in presentation mode.
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for inviting me as a coordinator of the Neuron project, and of course to invite Neuron to be part of this session. Together with Christina, we will discuss about the background and motivation behind this project on optimizing local integrated energy communities, and we will also discuss about latest development of local integrated energy communities in Europe. First of all, I would like to introduce this session through this figure. So we know that achieving net zero emissions by 2050 would require a singular focus from all actors, and governments will be essential to manage and realize the pace of change. The COVID-19 pandemic had a heavy socioeconomic impact and is putting a strain on funding, and governments have a historic opportunity today to direct recovery measures towards accelerating the energy transition. Recently released international energy data, as you can see here, shows in fact that global energy-related CO2 emissions have already rebounded in December 2020, and this not only has repercussions on climate and the environment, but also on air quality and well-being of citizens. Well, the Paris Agreement has an objective of holding the increase in the global average temperature to well below 2 degrees C above pre-industrial levels, and pushing efforts to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees C above pre-industrial levels. To achieve these temperature goals, the Paris Agreement calls for emissions to peak as soon as possible and reduce rapidly thereafter, leading to a balance between anthropogenic emissions by sources and removals by sinks in the second half of this century. These conditions are all met in the Sustainable Development Scenario. As illustrated in this figure, the International Energy Agency's Sustainable Development Scenarios requires a significant and concerted effort to peak and then reduce emissions. And the measures that can allow to achieve this goal are mostly related to energy efficiency and accelerated adoption of renewables, among others, over the period to 2050. Why we need energy systems integration? Because to meet these energy and climate goals requires commitment beyond the electricity sectors. And in order to provide decarbonization across different sectors, we need an integrated approach that can represent a valid solution. This is the main idea behind the concept of integrated energy system, that according to the ETIPSNet Vision 2050, is an integrated infrastructure for all energy carriers with electrical system as a backbone. It is based on decoupling different sectors through increasing efforts in a synergic way by coordinating the planning and the operation of energy systems across multiple energy carriers. And this will also allow to achieve a more flexible, reliable, and efficient energy system as a whole. Electrification is considered a valid cost-effective pathway for decarbonization of final energy consumption. The figure that you can see here shows the change from the current energy supply system, where the electricity demand is mainly covered by the electricity network and the heat demand by gas-fired boilers fed by gas network, that is compared with an electrified future. This electrified future sees the electricity network that is used to satisfy all energy demand, including heat demand through power-to-heat technologies. But an electrified future poses important questions. For example, one of the most important one is how much additional power network capacity do we need to satisfy all types of energy demand? Another important question is what happens if there is a contingency in the power system? A strong electrification scenario poses a number of challenges for the operation of the power system that in principle will need additional flexibility, reinforcement, and new investments for the transmission and distribution networks. What happens in case electrification of final consumption is combined with integration of energy sectors? Through this new scenario, decarbonization of energy demand will be reached through penetration of renewable in all energy and use sectors, while also getting higher flexibility for the whole system by reducing the needs for enforcing existing network infrastructure. In this figure, you can see the comparison between the current energy system and an integrated future, integrated energy system, where energy system integration allows increasing efficiency in the energy resource use through exploiting synergies coming from the interplay of different energy carriers. Moreover, energy system integration also allows to increase efficiency in the energy resource use and allows to reduce renewable energy sources curtailment. This figure well represents the idea behind the integrated energy system. What is an integrated energy system? It can be considered as a system of a system. So an integrated infrastructure for all energy carriers with the electrical system as a backbone, characterized by a high level of integration between all networks of energy carriers. For example, obtained by coupling electrical networks with the gas networks, heating and cooling, all supported by energy storage and conversion processes, as for example, power-to-X technologies. These systems will be completely digitalized with a high level of automation and will be designed and managed to prevent or minimize the effects of unforeseen events. What happens at the local level? Integrated energy system at the local level can be, let's say, represented by the concept of integrated local energy community. At the local level, the integrated energy system becomes a confined multi-energy system where the locally available energy resources can be exploited at their full potential to satisfy the multi-energy demand of the end user. For example, the electricity, the heat and cooling demand with or without a connection to a distribution system. And this can be considered as a result of implementation of different types of energy technologies, for example, electricity and thermal technologies and energy storage, and through the optimized management of energy flows. Integrated local energy communities that can represent integrated energy systems at local level are recognized today an efficient, sustainable way to manage energy at the local level while also fostering consumers' engagement and empowerment. According to the Neuron project, the integrated local energy community concept refers to a set of energy users who decide to make common choices in terms of satisfying their energy needs, with the goal to maximize the benefits deriving from this collegial approach thanks to the implementation of a variety of electricity and heat technologies and energy storage and the optimized management of energy flows. Well, which are the main benefits of ILEC? ILEC are able to integrate energy carriers, as I said, through a variety of local generation electricity and heat, flexible demand, energy storage, and electric mobility. They also offer the possibility of a cross-sector integration at the local level, and they can be employed to support the grid by providing ancillary services and flexibility through different products such as demand response, congestion relief, local energy markets, and so on. Now I leave the floor to Christina Papadimitriou for the second part of the presentation. Christina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Is that okay to share my own screen or?
That's
maybe...
fine.
Okay, so I will share my screen now. You should see it, right?
Yes, we can.
Can you see it in the presenter view?
No, not yet.
Okay, it will come through. Now?
Yes.
Great. So as Maria Laura said, the ILEC, so the Integrated Local Energy Community, is really important for the energy transition. But what happens now with the terminology used in the EU level? You can see, and also Carlos briefly mentioned, that we are having more than one terms. We are having the citizen energy community, we are having the local energy community, and the renewable energy community that can be as a subset of the citizen energy community. And local energy community could be seen as an absolute term to be used, but this is really important when it comes to the transposition of this EU regulation to the national framework, and you can see why in the next slide. So in order to identify the status of the energy communities in the Neuron project, we reviewed a sample of 76 different energy communities spread around Europe. And the main criteria to focus on was how this term was transposed in the national framework, what was the organizational structure of these entities, who were participating, what were the technologies and the carriers involved, and of course the motivation for establishing the energy communities in the first place. I will share with you some insight for the present status of energy communities, but for anyone that would like to dive in further, you can always visit the Neuron site with the respected deliverable. So you can see here. Yes?
Christina, sorry to interrupt you. We are seeing the presenter view, not the presentation view. So if you can just change it.
Okay, I will go.
Okay, it's okay now.
It's okay now. Okay.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry.
No, thank you. Thank you for pointing this out. So, as I was saying, this terminology use can be seen as the energy communities in the different countries of Europe are using 50%, almost 50%, one term, and the other half the other. And there are also the countries that are early adopters, and they have already used the local energy communities. And of course, there is a small percentage that is using a different terminology. This may pose a risk for the implementation of the energy communities and the objectives of the energy communities, as you can see in the next, because this can affect not only the objectives of the communities, but also the stakeholders involved. So you can see here that 25% of the stakeholders are citizens, and 17% is the municipalities that are participating in such schemes. But you can see also other organizations participating, and this can pose a risk because the energy communities is a scheme for citizens empowerment, and you can see other partners, if we do not use the right term or if we're having splitting terminology used, you can see other parties to be involved because they found that it would be a beneficial business case for themselves. But we need to be really, yes, cautious with that. And also about the motivation, you can see the motivation established is different. We're having the economical motivation, environmental motivation, but energy poverty, that would be, let's say, the number one motivation according to EU, is fall behind. So this is how the terminology used can really affect how the energy communities can be efficient in the future. And you can see now in the next slide how the carriers and the technologies are involved. And you can see that the majority of the communities are based in the electricity carrier, whereas there are also biofuel and thermal heating, okay, district heating, and also technologies involved, mainly PVs, but there are also some other technologies like storage and of course energy conversion technologies that would allow the other carriers to be existent. But is this closed with integrated local energy communities that we would like to, the ones that was described by Maria Laura? No, we are far from that. We are not there because the carriers and the technologies involved does not assume that we are having this coordination, this cross-integral, let's say, interaction between the sectors. And this is what we have spotted to be missed. We have spotted that we are lacking a common EU framework. So there are no carriers integration involved in the energy communities as set by the European framework, and we are lacking the technical tools to address the energy communities. And of course, in Uran and other projects are focusing on these technical solutions to be given. And another remark that I would like also to highlight again is that energy communities is and shall be the means of citizen engagement. And this shall be secured when we are transposing the EU rules to the national legislation frameworks. As I said, consumer empowerment is crucial for the ILEC concept. And you can see here the adoption curve. This is the Roger technology adoption curve, and we need the early majority to be empowered under this ILEC concept in order that we see this efficiently being present in the energy transition. But now we are trapped, let's say, in the innovators percent, that's the 2.5%, because we can have, let's say, innovative projects where people participating, people are responsive to a certain extent, but we are not persistent. Of course, this is not only related to the technical solutions that needs to be automated, but also, as mentioned by Carlos in the beginning of the session, there are social part and also regulatory part that needs to be taken care of. And before wrapping up this presentation, I would like to make the connection of the ILEC concept with the REPowerEU plan. In light of this political situation of the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Europe launches this REPowerEU plan in order to make us independent from Russian fossil fuels and gas well before 2030. And they are focusing in certain key sectors such as heating to deploy heat pumps, geothermal and solar thermal energy. They want to reinforce solar rooftop initiative, put forward hydrogen, and of course employ further e-mobility. And this is where the ILEC concept can offer and can gravely contribute to the Repower EU plan in order to provide an applicable cross-sectoral integration framework in order to promote synergies among enabling technologies and all other carriers to increase RES penetration and promote self-sufficiency based on the local resources. And at last but not least, within this framework of ILEC, less mature technologies than the hydrogen that the European Commission would like to focus on can be efficiently integrated by hybridization and other means. This is the last slide. Thank you also for having me here and your kind invitation. We are open to questions.
Thank you, Christine and Maria Laura, for your excellent presentation. We'll have a slot for Q&A at the end of all the presentations. Let me just share my screen again. So, thank you for this excellent presentation, making it clear that energy sector integration, optimization, and regulatory frameworks are the key for the success of local energy community concept. We now move on to the next presentation. We move to the practical implementation of a local energy community concept. So I am happy to introduce our third speaker, which will present us how the Portuguese Navy is implementing a local energy community in its naval base through the Anuran project. Lieutenant Commander Francisco Cunha Gomes has a degree in marine engineering from the Naval Academy, completed in 2003. He served on board several Portuguese Navy ships and also held positions in the Directorate of Transports and the Directorate of Ships. Since April 2020, he is serving in the Portuguese Navy staff as a specialist responsible for the environment and energy transition projects, where he contributes to the pursuit of the objectives set out in the intersectoral program for environmental sustainability. Among other tasks, he coordinates the working group for the operationalization of the Portuguese pilot of the Anuran project at the Lisbon Naval Base. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Carlos. I will share my screen. I think it's visible now.
Yes, okay.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you the invitation addressed to the Portuguese Navy to participate in this webinar. I'm a Lieutenant Commander Francisco Gomes from the Portuguese Navy staff, and during the next few minutes, I will be presenting a brief summary of the actions related with the Portuguese demonstrator located in the Lisbon Naval Base inside the Anuran project. In my presentation, I will start with the Portuguese Navy introduction, followed by the presentation of our Portuguese demonstrator, and then address the sites, the futures, buildings, use cases, and cooperation, and on completion, a brief description of other Portuguese Navy projects. The Navy missions aims to protect and promote Portugal's interests in and through the sea. This statement summarizes in a simple sentence the action of the Navy so that the sea can create value, making impact a vast set of tasks that the Navy performs or contributes to in multiple actions plans. The fulfillment of the Navy mission is based on a set of key processes responsible for the operational, scientific, and cultural products. That is the institutional products of the Navy. It includes, of course, military operations and other operations such as counter-piracy, embargo and maritime interdictions missions, search and rescue, and suppression of maritime illicit activities. in close collaboration with other agencies. Moreover, the scientific research in support of the Portugal continental shelf extension project and cultural activities of museums. For the Navy to evolve and maintain its relevance, it is essential to promote continuous transformation with a view to achieving a desired future situation. This transformation is achieved through the strategic management process. We can say that the Portuguese Navy structure follows a functional logic. The naval staff is responsible for the strategy, formulation and planning, and the general inspection of the Navy conducts internal audits. The departments have a functional nature, and their main purpose is the management of the organizational resources in accordance with the defined policy. The Fleet Command, the Hydrographic Institute, the Naval Academy, and the cultural bodies are responsible for the three main areas of output. The Lisbon Naval Base is in the direct dependence of the Naval Commander. So, the Portuguese Navy is the host and one of the partners involved in the activities of the Portuguese pilots. The Portuguese site is the Lisbon Naval Base, located in Alfeite, on the south bank of the Tagus River, comprise a complex of port infrastructures, facilities, and services to provide logistical support to the naval units moored and anchored for the Marines, Naval Academy, among others. In the Lisbon Naval Base, we are working to install photovoltaic panels, improving the building energy management system developed by the Portuguese Navy. Implementation of the energy management system complies with the ISO 50001 under the supervision of the European Defence Agency. Several buildings have been selected to fulfill this aim, for which several calls for applications to POCUR have been accepted. For the development of the Neuron project, some buildings were selected, uh, bearing in mind that they should have a residential, workshop, and office consumption profile. Hence, the buildings selected were as follows. The Sports Center contains a solar PV and solar thermal and boilers. The Recreation Center Canteen contains solar PV, solar thermal, and boilers. The Residential Mess contains solar thermal and smart meters for electric energy consumption and is characterized by a residential profile. We have also the Directorate of Ships, contains the AV charging station and it's characterized by the charging up profile. The Directorate of Ships contains several offices with lightnings and IT systems and it's characterized by an office profile and some workshops on the base. The installation works of the main assets in the sports center are being concluded, as we can see in the photos, and we will have as main assets the PV panels with a power of 53 kilowatts, the solar thermal, and two boilers. Associated with the micro hub of the sports center, we will have an energy store system in batteries. Its reception and installation at the Lisbon Naval Base will take place next December. With regard to the canteen, the installation work of the main assets is nearly completed, and we will have as main assets the PV panels with a power of 41 kilowatts, the solar thermal, and also two boilers. In the case of the photovoltaic plant with a power of 870 kilowatts, the Navy is analyzing the proposals, and in short term, we will have this power plant available. Associated With the production of energy by the photovoltaic plants, we will have a V2G electric vehicle charging station. This V2G charging station has two doors, one classic type and one that allows an electric car to be connected to the grids, charging or discharging its battery. With regard to the residential mass, the installation works of the main assets are completed, and we will have as a main assets the solar thermal and two boilers. As the electric charging station is available in the Directorate of Transports with a power port of 11 kilowatts. The water pumps are available at the naval base and are used to fill the water tanks. We are working to be able to integrate the command and control system of the water pumps into the Eneuron tool. The Directorate of Ships and Workshops of the naval base have two profiles of consumers. One is commercial and the other is industrial. As of today, the available energy carriers, assets and loads are defined and characterized. We have already defined the three use cases that will be present during our demonstration activities. Right now, the procurement for the required equipment to implement the Eneuron concept is currently underway. Following the demo timeline on the bottom, we have already concluded the assessments in the end of the last year. During the first half of this year, we are working in the process to begin the implementation, which we are planning to conclude during the second half. In 2023, if the previous process happened without any big delays, we expected during the first half starting to obtain results. The Portuguese Navy and the ADP joint cooperation has three main benefits, namely technical knowledge, preparing the digitalization of the Lisbon naval base, electrical grid using smart meters and other devices, financial and economics. One expected outcome is the increased use of the renewable energy sources produced by locally. Therefore, there will be the economic benefits of saving in the energy bills. Environment and sustainability, faster energy transition of the Lisbon naval base, contributing to increase the use of clean energy, thus reducing the CO2 emissions and making this community more sustainable. Addressing now the other Portuguese Navy projects, here we can see part of it. Environmental management system, the implementation of an environmental management system for the ocean patrol vessels, Viana do Castelo class, and EMAS registration. Also, the hydrogen project. In the project for the rehabilitation of the Criolla sailing ship, the new concept is based on the development of an electric propulsion with the English designation of all-electric ship. In this sense, it is intended that power generation can come from diesel generators, photovoltaic cells, batteries, and hydrogen stored in the liquid organic hydrogen carrier and used either in multi-fuel generators or in fuel cells. And also the energy efficiency information system for buildings and renewable energy systems. Thank you for your attention, and I finish my presentation.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Commander Cunha Gomes, for your detailed and interesting presentation of the Lisbon Naval Base pilot demonstrator of the Eneuron project. Finally, we still have to address the technical and technological challenges involved in the practical implementation of the integrated and optimized local energy community concept. In this regard, I am happy to introduce you to our last speaker, Dr. José Oliveira is VP of Product at Eneida.io. He has been working on operational analytics applications that support DSOs managing the DER integration on low voltage grids. José holds a PhD in physics from the University of Coimbra, Portugal, and in collaboration with Eneida on a power substations project. José has been coordinating Eneida's participation in several innovation projects nationally and internationally. He has been co-supervising doctoral students from the industry perspective and is co-author of 3 patents and of many papers presented internationally. José, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Carlos. So, are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and I would like to thank EDP for this invitation and for support in the session preparation. My presentation addresses the project application and the solution, the integration of solutions in the existing systems in each community. eNeuron is about multi-carrier energy systems, and this is already very innovative, the multi-carrier approach. Our aim is to optimize the energy system beyond electricity, including gas, hydrogen, water, heating, cooling, and all necessary conversion technologies. In this project, we will formulate multi-objective problems and develop a methodology to optimize them. This methodology is being developed to be scalable and replicable beyond the project. The eNeuron defined ambitious objectives, some of which were already mentioned in the previous presentation. We organized our objectives for different levels. So at the prosumer's level, we want to reduce the renewable generation's curtailment, maximizing the usage of the local generation. In the integrated local energy communities, our objectives are, of course, minimizing consumption costs, reducing emissions, and in what concerns to the integrated approach, we want to contribute to improving the efficiency of energy system, dealing with intermittent energy sources, and working to secure the energy supply. It is also our objective to increase flexibility among different load types, allowing load shifting and participating in the system reliability. Is everything okay?
Yes. We hear you.
Okay, thank you. At the regional level, we will address the increasing provision of system services to support neighboring systems and the load balance. The project is facing huge challenges. The well-known high initial investment in the infrastructure, on the adoption of low carbon technologies and connect them to the grids. Moving forward in a multi-carrier approach, the management of interconnect networks has to be defined, the roles of each grid operator and the rules to optimally solve the multi-objective problem has to be defined. On equipment side, to better operate each asset in time, we may need low latency communications and we will need to store huge amounts of data so we can use it to forecast run-term needs and predict the long-term operation. We didn't find many examples and business models addressing multi-carrier energy systems, probably due to the complexity it brings. And another big challenge is related to regulations. the functionalities, the operation of such system, roles and responsibilities are still to be defined. On the customer side, we will have to engage the prosumers to count on their participation in the optimization of the energy system. The project also identified major limitations to putting this concept in place, which are the fact that the most optimization models available are based on electricity sector and are designed for a single problem related to cost minimization. The software solvers will require high computation resources to handle a large number of inputs, run very complex algorithms, and deliver the optimal operation for each asset. The placement and sizing of low carbon technologies from a multi-career perspective are not properly addressed yet, and we will need much more energy storage systems to guarantee the supply based on more and more intermittent resources. These storage systems will also play a key role in supporting frequency control. Based on the previous background, we designed the concept of Uneuron, addressing multi-objective problems and its optimization. Let me remind you about the concepts of energy hub and micro energy hub. So an energy hub is designed for controlling and management multi-career and integrated energy systems across multiple scales in order to optimize its architecture and operation. And a micro energy hub is an integrated energy system consisting of multi-energy generation, conversion, and storage technologies to satisfy its own needs. So the overall concept is very dependent on visibility, on how and when we are using and producing energy in each local. Based on visibility, we will estimate the local demand and local generation in the period ahead, on the day ahead, for instance, and we will look forward to balancing these needs. We'll define the multi-objective problem for each hub and for the community. The software solver will compute all these inputs and will provide the hub with the optimal dispatch for the following period. So at the microenergy hub level, the solver will estimate the optimal dispatch of its own resources and also the freedom degrees in what concerns to each microenergy hub consumption. At the energy hub level, the operational solver will compute the infrastructure capacity, the current and the day-ahead load requirements, the available resources and the associated costs provided by each microenergy hub. And at the end, it will provide the community with the optimal dispatch. The peer-to-peer market will make available all offers from each microenergy hub, playing this way a key role on the optimization process. And it will also provide the microenergy hubs with the best actions and respective incentives in order to optimize the energy of efficiency, which is our goal. To summarize, we are all aware of the decarbonization targets. We all know that to achieve it, we are already reducing generation from energy. We are reducing generation of energy from controllable sources and increasing generation of energy from intermittent and distributed resources. To support this energy transition, we will need more visibility, improved forecasting methods, and an operational platform to promote the optimal usage of the available resources. The project partners are bringing to the project their own available tools on visibility, forecasting, planning, and validation. These tools will be improved during the project to address the common goals. Taking into account we are observing tremendous electrification growth. The electricity career will be the backbone carrier, and our software in Deep Grid will be used as the ground platform to demo all the Enron toolboxes. Deep Grid is the software for the LV grid visibility and optimization. It was designed in collaboration with our clients, electricity distribution system operators. Deep Grid was designed to run third-party apps within. To easily interconnect with other software. By the end of the project, the integrated Enron solution will be able to run over Deep Grid. The project partners will develop new methods for analyzing and planning the long-term operation of the multi-carrier energy system based on the SINTEF tool they integrate. All partners will improve their own forecasting tools and scenario validation tools. And we will develop together the optimization solvers for both Energy Hub and Micro Energy Hub. And also the peer-to-peer trading algorithms. At Eneda, we are also developing the assets controller devices that may act on both Energy Hub and Micro Energy Hub levels. These intelligent devices are designed to handle containerized software, and we have currently 2 different models with 2 different specs and costs. Both of them will run in AWS Analysis, which is our new embedded software, a broker, and other containerized apps that will publish and subscribe services within the device. The device with higher specs will allow third-party apps, and for that, we will provide an SD key and a framework to test those apps and to approve them to run embedded on the device. The device is based on an industrial platform with a regular CPU and GPU. We usually find it in a smartphone. And in particular, encompasses an NPU, a neural process unit to enable machine learning embedded applications. So depending on the complexity, we may connect to some tools in the cloud and run embedded other relevant applications. So thank you for your attention. I'll be available to questions in the next time slot, and for those who will be in Porto in the next 2 days, we can find us also in CIRAD in another stand right beside the RED stand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, José Oliveira, for your very interesting presentation. So we have concluded our presentations for today. Without further delay, we can open our roundtable session. I invite all the speakers again to the floor. You can see we have already some questions. I can start by the first one. So the first one is from our colleague Jorge Muniz Garcia, which is, I think that Europe is expert in designing complex strategies in the paper, but what about implementation in the real world? Do you think that this integration between the different energy carriers is advancing with enough speed? I think Maria Laura and Christina might be able to answer. Please.
Yes, thank you very much for this question. This is a very good question, and I totally agree with you in the sense that Europe is, and also I mean from the European Commission, everything is in place to see in 2050 an integrated energy system, but there are a lot of barriers that today exist and that we need to overcome in order to implement this complex energy system. Some of these barriers have been already identified by Christina. So how we are far away from the ILEC concept, from the integrated local energy community implementation in Europe. We have also analyzed some of these barriers. For example, some of the technical barriers are related to technologies, because in this integrated energy system, we have a lot of technologies working with different energy carriers, and some of them are not mature enough. Some of them are already have a very high TRL, but when we consider this integrated energy system, all technologies have to work together. So we need all technologies that have the same maturity level. This is not the case. Another important, let's say, technical, economic barrier is that, for example, also the convenience in usage of some technologies depend on the price of energy carriers, and so the maturity of some technologies is different in various European countries. Another barrier that I can see for the implementation of this integrated energy system is still related to policy and regulatory framework, because we really need, let's say, an integrated approach for the planning and the operation of this integrated energy system. So we need a policy framework that consider all together the sectors that can cooperate, for example, electricity and gas. We need a policy framework that takes into consideration the synergies that can come from this cooperation and that fosters for this type of cooperation. And finally, another, last but not least, another important aspect to consider is the economic impact of the implementation of this integrated energy system, because of course we need to create new infrastructures for allowing this type of interaction of energy carriers, for example, electricity and gas. Also in the case we can use existing infrastructure, we need some investment costs to adapt this existing infrastructure, for example, for using the gas infrastructure for usage of hydrogen. So, yes, this is my main comment to this question. I don't know, Cristina, if you want to add something to this.
Thank you, Maria Laura and Carlos. I'm totally aligned with what you said. I would also add on top of that that as we are having more complex systems, we are having different actors also engaged. And for having different actors, we need more sustainable business cases and more sustainable business models and business model innovation. And there are also some other cross-cutting issues that we, as traditionally as engineers, yes, we leave aside, but it's the time to focus also on that. For example, the social inclusion and how we are having also social aspects treated, because the consumer empowerment has also this aspect foreseen that we need them active. So this is also something to be taken on board. So overall, I would say that I agree that we are not where we would like to be there. There are many steps that we need to take further. Of course, the European Commission is launching calls and funding schemes for high TRL projects like eNeuron to give solutions close to the market. This is high TRL projects explained. So we are close to the market, but if we do, let's say, operate like in a sandbox, this won't help to the change that we would like to see, and our solutions would be limited. So we need to take care all of these challenges, also mentioned by Maria Laura and myself, in order to make this happen. Because yes, the vision is there, but we need also to keep it up. That's all from my side.
Okay, thank you, Christina and Maria Laura, for your insights. We can move on to our second question, which comes from Ruben Nunes. The question is, since Portugal is not a natural gas producer, why did the Navy opt for natural gas boilers instead of heat pumps or other sustainable heating solutions? I invite Francisco Penha Gomes to answer.
Okay, thank you for your question. The buildings that I focused in my presentation, we have in the past some audits, energy audits, to to see what are the best options related with equipments that we can install on the naval base. And according to the audits, and I don't have all the details about these audits, maybe the Directorate of Infrastructures have more information, but they select the boilers with natural gas to install on the naval base. But I don't have more details about this.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on this question. If not, I can move to the next one. I think it's a quick one from Antonio Vidigal. When will Criolla be sailing again? A bit out of the topic, but I think you have a bit of time to answer. If it's quick, and if it's Francisco Cunha Gomes knows the answer.
Yeah. Yes, the Criolla, the sailing ship, now is on the naval base. We are on the project phase for the rehabilitation of the ship, and we expected that Criolla will sail again on the second quarter of 2025.
Excellent, thank you. Next question, also for the Navy. So it's from João Saraiva. How many CPEs, local of consumption? So it's Portuguese for the contracts, the connections to the public grid are involved in the off-fate naval base. The licensing process already starts on the DGG.
Thank you for the question. About the first question, this is classified information, and the CPS that we have on the naval base is not the number that we can say in open webinars. What are the number of the CPS that we have on the naval base, because it's classified information. About the licensing process, we already start the conversation with the JEC, and I know that we are ongoing with the process to have authorization to expand our photovoltaic plant in the naval base in the next years, because it's our intentions to expand the power plant in the naval base.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Manuel Henrique Alves. What's the expected payback time for the investment in the off-fate naval base? I think it's also from Francisco Gomes, please.
Yes, according to the studies that we performed related with this subject, we expected that the last 7 years we have the payback for the investment that we have in the naval base.
Okay, excellent, thank you. I think we only have one more question from Rafael Oliveira Rodrigues. The data solution will be capable of running ML algorithms locally, or they need to be running in the cloud? I think this question is for José Oliveira, please.
Okay, thank you for the question. For now, Eneda is only running ML algorithms in cloud, but with this new device we are developing under the Uniron, we are using a platform that will enable perhaps not so complex ML algorithms, but even so, yes, ML algorithms to run embedded within the device, because this device is already a small computer, let's say that way.
Okay, thank you. We still have one more question from Antonio Vidigal. The data solution will be using TensorFlow or PyTorch? José, please.
PyTorch, I don't know. TensorFlow, yes. We are using TensorFlow.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if anyone has any further question. We are already past the hour. I think not. Okay. Thank you all for your questions. If some of you wants any further clarification, please feel free to reach me out directly, or I'll try to answer or forward your question to our guest experts. So I think it's time to wrap up. In my personal name and in the name of EDP New and EDP LabLec, I want to thank you all once again for attending this session, and a big thank you to our guest speakers for having accepted our invitation, and see you in the next R&D session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. Bye bye.
Claudius.
Thank you.
And
Bye.
thank you, everyone that has been here with us. With this, we have reached the end of today's session. It was a great session. Thank you all for being here. A lot of knowledge was exchanged. I hope you are all now more aware of the Neuron project and of what is a local energy community. And this is how we learn how to contribute to the energy transition ourselves.
Yes, thank you. Thank you
Thank
to
you.
our guests, to our attendees, and of course, thank you also to Carlos for moderating the webinar. Hope to see you in the next R&D sessions.
Yes,
See
the
you.
next R&D session, by the way, will be on the topic of flexibility and will be at the beginning of next month. Everyone is obviously invited, so stay tuned to our channels to get to know more. Enjoy your afternoon, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.